because we have really worked for it. And I don't think any of us would want to risk it when we really don't understand the market. So somehow, majority of us are not mainly into investment. That I can tell depending on my contacts also. So this would be the first icebreaker thing. I would really want Dr. Arun Sampriti. So before that, let me introduce our elite guest today. So we don't have financial corporate guest today, but we have our very own ophthalmologists who have found interest in money management. And more than inviting professional people, we thought let us share among our friends. Let us see how Dr. Arun and Dr. Trihan have brought into investment and how it's benefited us. So the first question was what I asked Dr. Arun Sampriti, if you can tell us why with this comfortable cocoon that we are in, and why do you think we should start thinking on money management? And I personally know you for decades and you have a roaring practice in Bangalore. You're very comfortable financially. So what actually pulled you into financial management?
I think the most important lesson COVID has taught us is to be financially independent and to have the passive income, so that even in case your clinic is not running, you're able to carry on your normal life. And as doctors, what happens is, okay, you initially your practice will grow year on year, but after a certain period of time, there will be a plateau, like the number of patients you can see. Okay, how much you can see? Maximum 100 patients in a day, OPD. And how many surgeries can you do? Okay, you stretch yourself, you can do 25 surgeries in a day. Beyond that, it is not possible. So beyond a point, you get a plateau, means you cannot grow further in your private practice. So then you have to become an entrepreneur, you have to hire doctors, and then you have to expand your practice, multiple centers. That's what majority of the doctors are doing. So without that, for a private practitioner, it becomes difficult, means you just tend to plateau out. So if you don't find a way, so this is a very important quote by Mr. Warren Buffett, who is one of the king of investing. So he has told that if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work till you die. So that's a very, very powerful statement which he has made. So unless we put our money to work, you work so hard to earn your money, and if that money is not working and the inflation is eating up all your whatever capital you are having, then there is absolutely no sense in continuing working without any this thing sense. So you should have a financial planning, and you should put your money to work so that you don't have to work till you die.
Perfect. Very well said, sir. So may I invite Sir Dr. Ravi Trihan to just tell us what are the options right now, sir, that we have at this stage. Basically, where all can we put our money in? So we can have your quick presentation as well during this, where you can guide us through what all options each of us have in investing our money. So you could screen share.
Could I start my presentation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can start your presentation.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. At the outset, I'd like to thank Cornea Society of India for giving me opportunity to speak on this topic of my choice, basics of personal finance for the doctors. And motive behind this session is to gain some insight about personal finance, to aware all of you about common financial mistakes we do, and to avoid getting misguided by the financial advisors and agents. This PPT has been made accordingly. This can be finished in 5 minutes and it can be extended up to 60 minutes. So I'll keep it very simple, and I'll try to touch each and every point, and then we can discuss it later on as and when time permits. Some of the things you must know. Number one is balance sheet. Each one of us prepares our balance sheet on 31st of March every year. And there are two main headings, liabilities as well as assets. So we must know each and every time what we liabilities and what are our assets. Second point, we must know about cash flow. What is our inflow and what is our outflow? Total receipts versus household as well as clinical expenses. Each and every financial planning should be goal-oriented. I divided these goals into 4: personal, family, professionals, and others. Every surgeon or every person has different goals, but these are the broad headings I have mentioned. To start with, in beginning of practice, our needs are basic instruments, undoubtedly upgradation with time to time. What furniture, premises, rental, own, whatever, staff salary, as well as household expenses. And resources are savings. Nowadays, I think residents are also getting handsome salary. So there must be some savings, inheritance, loans, as well as clinical receipts. Now I will start with basics of this finance management. I'll touch these with emergency fund, taxations, insurance, as well as investments. One thing very quickly about bank account as well as cards. As we all know, we have savings account as well as current account. As any doctor fellow went to any of the bank, private or government, nowadays, this is system, they will tell you that you have different types of accounts, saving accounts. It's all depend upon how much balance you have kept in that account. Accordingly, they will give you debit card as well as credit card. And there are a number of facilities available depend upon gradation of your account. But they will not tell holding of the bank account can be done differently. So here is my suggestion. 3 type of holdings is there: single, joint, either survivor, or we can say anyone or survivor. As you went to the bank, they generally open single holding. But I suggest everyone to have either or survivor or anyone or survivor type of joint holding. In that kind of saving account, 2 checkbooks are given. One to your names and other to either your spouse, children, or whatever friends, whatever family members. So either of survivor. Tax liabilities only for the first person, but both can operate the accounts. As well as debit card and this credit card, number of facilities are available. Each and every bank having different kind of cards and different kind of facilities. If my suggestion is, if you have Infinia card of HDFC, that is the best among I've studied all. Now, emergency funds. COVID teaches us a number of lessons. One is that we have to sit idle. So 6 months of your expenses, household expenses plus EMI if you are giving, that must be kept either in saving account or cash in hand or liquid mutual funds. Second is taxation. Income tax slabs, I think each and everyone is well aware of that. Second is GST, only if you have optical shops, medical shops, and other services. Our professional services are exempt from GST. One thing I broadly mentioned, consultancy services. Most of the doctors are unaware of this consultancy services. Number of companies are giving checks as in lieu of your consultancy services. Exactly, I'm underlining this. You can accept those checks, but if you have GST number, because otherwise, if you receive 10,000 consultancy services check, you are supposed to fill GST also, and that will be not possible because our professional services are different than these consultancy services. As far as insurance is concerned, only 3 insurances I suggest: term insurance, health insurance, and general insurance. LIC and ULIP, big no. So I'll take very little about term insurance, number one, insurance companies are giving. You can consult number of companies and select one out of them. Our AIOS is giving FBS and IMA is giving NSSS. These are the also a kind of term insurances. Regarding health insurance, basic medical aim, top-up medical aim, and super top-up medical aim. Apart from basic, one should take super top-up, not top-up, because there is a little bit difference in both. Time is less. We can discuss it later on. Otherwise, you can check YouTube videos. Super top-up plan is suggested for all of us. Is penny saved, is penny earned. So here is something about investment. 4 GRID, gold, real estate, equity, as well as debt. 4 types of investments are there. Regarding gold, physical, for your better half, ornamental, ETF, and sovereign gold bonds. Sovereign gold bonds is supposed to be the best one as far as investment is concerned. No taxation if you hold full tenure of this. So that will be, for investment purpose, SGB is the best. For real estate, number of types, commercial, residential, as well as agriculture. After one of your residence, second investment, if you want to make in real estate, it should be in commercial one, because that is giving real value. Others are not. And agriculture is for if someone is interested in farmhouse, etc., not for investment purpose. Investments in equity mutual funds, these will be dealt by Dr. Arun, but I am just touching types of mutual funds. We can divide by 2 types. Number one is direct and regular, and second, growth and dividend. Dividend is further divided, either payout or reinvest. These are the types of mutual funds will be dealt by Dr. Arun. We must have Demat account for equity share investments. These are the names of Zerodha, ET Money, Upstocks, MFU, and other platforms through which we can have shares. Debt investments are bank FD, post office, PPF. Tax benefits are there. Senior citizen saving schemes after 60 years of age. Again, Sukanya Samriddhi is tax-free, and as well as different types of debt mutual funds. Here is a brief summary what one should do. One should have emergency funds, tax planning, term insurance, general insurance, direct mutual funds, PPF and NPS, and please don't go for LIC, ULIP, regular mutual funds, trading in shares, and tax evasions. A very important slides, online fraud, as well as if any problem occurring in banks, these are the contact numbers we can have, we can call any problem. So you can contact these toll-free numbers, and if you give call within 1 hour, the money transferred can be stopped over there, and you can recollect your money. Your money can be collected from there. Thanks.
I think that will be the most expensive 5 minutes talk we have heard, sir. So beautifully you covered the entire thing. That's commendable. It was very nice that you could even give no specific names. That's excellent compilation, Dr. Ravi, sir. Very nice. So to just continue what you said itself, now considering a real life scenario, say we have done our fellowship, and this is a young doctor who's getting a pay of say around 2 lakhs per month. So I saw so many options in your talk as to how we invest. So as a young doctor, we have a lot of financial commitments also. Looking at the family, probably just married, then you invest in your equipment and your kids and your home. So how do we actually start our planning, sir? And we also would want to do some sort of enjoyment when you've just started earning money.
Exactly.
So how do you separate, like say 2 lakhs in hand? Could you just give us a simple rule of how much should we, what is our needs, how much to keep for our wants, and how much should you actually go about saving? And also, what is the right time you feel we can enjoy for a few years, with all the money and then start. So in your experience, what would be a right time for a very young doctor, and how much percent to begin with he would have to keep aside for investment?
First of all, I'll take what is the right time to invest. I think the day when one is getting first salary is the day when one should start investing, even in residency or fellowship or after practice. Because nowadays, because when I compare during my residency, we used to get 1500 only. And now the things are altogether changed. So investment should start on the day one. This is the one thing. Second, you have asked, here it is mentioned that he has started practice, and you are mentioning that fellowship he is getting 2 lakhs. So whatever it may be, earning of 2 lakh, it really makes a difference in which city you are. I'm sitting in district Hanumangarh of Rajasthan. Here 2 lakh is to start with is enough, quite enough. Household expenses are really different in metro cities as well as these district cities. Undoubtedly, these are the very important expenses. Number one, household expenses, one has to go for it. Second, clinical expenses, if it is fellowship, then no clinical expenses, because that is all covered there also. So as far as investment is concerned, it's all depend upon, in 1 month or 2, he will be able to decide how much amount he can be spared. Generally, what I feel, in my location, if one is getting 2 lakhs, need for children, their education, if it is there, or their upliftment, and planning of this rental or buying of this house. Rental versus EMI is the one point. If you want to rent house, you can purchase that house, and housing loans are comparatively cheaper than others. And that rent can be given as EMI, and you can take it out. Here, investment should be partly long-term and partly short-term, because you must be having some immediate goals also regarding upgrading of the instruments. You have to purchase your clinical area also, if one is interested in private practice. So accordingly, that as well as long-term. For long-term, one has to, if it is little bit information is with him, then he can go for shares, large cap shares. Otherwise, large cap equity mutual fund is the best for him. So anything point?
I just want to add a few points, Dr. DP.
Yes.
Yeah. One is, as a thumb rule, we say minimum 20% of the salary should be saved for the future. The saving should be minimum 20% of your salary, and your EMI should never exceed 40% of your salary. This is a thumb rule given by all the financial experts. So if you follow that, definitely 2 lakhs is a very good thing for a beginner. And the second thing, we always have to remember the power of compounding. The earlier you start, the greater will be the corpus you will end up finally. So if you are starting at the age of 30, definitely you can make a huge difference instead of starting at 45 or 50. So 20% of the salary is the minimum that you should set aside for the future investment.
Irrespective of what is your salary.
Yes.
So next, I would want to ask Dr. Arun Sampriti. Now, I think COVID, as Dr. Trehansa told us, has taught us too many lessons. But I think, yes, there was always this emotional part of getting COVID, but also we have seen a lot of ups and downs in the financial aspect also. So now we all realize how important this emergency fund is, and we have all realized that we should keep that extra money aside, especially more so people who are into business, because that has drastically affected them more than healthcare. So what is your suggestion is the best way when we decide what should be our percent of emergency fund? Should it be like this many months of salary, I put it as emergency fund? And where do we put this money? What is the best way of storing your emergency fund so that whenever you need, you can easily remove it from wherever it is stored?
Correct. So the emergency fund should be minimum 6 months of your expenditure. It's not your salary. Whatever your living expenses is there, whether living expenses will include your the payment of the clinic, if in a private practice, paying your staff salaries also will include into that. So 6 months of your expenditure should be there in an emergency fund. And emergency fund should always be, as you said, in a place where you can easily take it out. So this cannot be in an equity mutual fund or in any this thing. It should be a debt product. And nowadays, I think FD is the best form of debt product, because previously the debt mutual funds were giving a good options if you're holding it for long term. But the government has removed the rule of indexation benefit. So FD and debt MF almost are same now. So emergency fund, the best is to keep in a form of fixed deposit so that you can recover whenever you want it. And 6 months of your expenditure is what you should have as a the minimum emergency fund.
So again, coming to the next question, not only that, we have, lot of us have seen death in a very close way in terms of seeing someone whom you know or someone who's very young passing off, just gone. So yes, emotionally we can never replace. But Dr. Ravi, what is your thoughts on how do we keep our family at least financially safe once we are gone? So what are the best ways of insurance, life insurance, term insurance, which gives our family as much as financial flexibility even once the person who earns is really gone? So what is your thoughts on the investments and such?
Major point I'd like to mention, please do not mix investment with your insurance. Number of companies are coming with their products. Sir, this is ULIP, United Link Investment Plan, insurance plan. So one thing is very clear, that the amount given to insurance companies as well as part of invested money, if you insure separately, that will give better results. So term insurance is the best one, and if started early, the premium will be less. So the only mention is, do not go for LIC. And just for information to all, we have abbreviated this LIC, that is loss is compulsory. So please do not go for that. No LIC, no ULIP, only term insurance. And that will be from any company. You can select policy.com or whatever it may be. Comparison is given with maximum percentage of success. Those companies can be selected. On the basis of that, you can have your term insurance. And nowadays, number of companies are giving, and if started early, the premium is really less. This is summarized answer.
And the term insurance, I would suggest, should be 20 times your annual income.
Yeah, exactly.
Any other suggestions on this, Dr. Arun Sampriti? I think this is a very important thing.
Very important, yes. Term insurance is very, very important. All of us fall for the ULIPs because all our patients, our friends and relatives, they're all agents. So they'll get almost about 30 to 40% commissions on this ULIP policy. So that's why they are hell-bent on making you take that policy. So we should definitely not fall for this. And I have personally fallen for it, and I have learned it from hard way, the mistakes. So we should never fall into that. As Ravi sir said, the pure term plan. And nowadays you get online term plans. So you can take that online term plans. And most important, you please reveal all your problems, like whatever the medical conditions you are having, you please reveal everything, and you should fill up the form. Because usually when the agents do, they will do as per their requirement just to ensure that the policy is given to you. But when it comes to a claim, they will reject the claims. So the most important is to reveal all your medical conditions. Let them give. If they want to give, let them give. Otherwise, you go for a different company. So most important is to reveal all the details so that you don't have any problem at the time of a claim.
One message I'd like to give all my viewers. I know most of the doctors are having LICs because in their cities, the agents are searching for our community. That is the soft target.
Yes.
In my friend circle, what I used to say, if your LIC tenure is left more than 3 years, please surrender. please surrender. You are not going to get any benefit. Suppose someone has taken LIC for 25 years and he is already completed 20 years. By all the calculations, he will be at loss. If it is more than 3 years, then surrender. If it is within 3 years, then he can continue. This is the message I'd like to mention to all my viewers.
So now may I request Dr. Arun to take us more into your thoughts on, can we have your presentation, sir?
Yeah, sure.
So about equity, and he is very popular and well known, and all of us take his suggestion ki where to put our money, sir. So I would want you to take us through, I think the most popular among doctors investment, that would be mutual funds, and give us some tricks, sir. Also do tell us where you had your maximum profit, and we'll go and invest in that place.
Sure. So, so thank you very much, Dr. Deepthi, for the opportunity. And first of all, I'm not a SEBI registered certified financial advisor. So I happened to learn everything only post-COVID. So COVID gave an opportunity for me to just go back to my finances and see what has happened. And before that, it is so busy that you don't even look at your bank statements. So that was a mistake I was making. So post-COVID, I realized this thing. So I'll just keep all these slides.
So you can just put in a slideshow, sir.
It's in a slideshow. It's not seen?
No, sir.
I'll just. Is it in a slideshow now?
Yes.
Yes, sir. So the most important thing I would suggest doctors is to, one is clear all your debts. So you should not have much debts, because the less debt you have, more is a peace of mind, and you can easily sleep. And you cannot outsource your finance to anybody else. Nobody will be interested in your money. Even your closest friends and relatives will not be interested in your money as much as what you are interested in. So you have to learn it yourself, and you have to clear things. And as we discussed before, saving is very, very important. And normally what we tend to do is we do all our expenditure, and whatever is left is called as a saving. That is not saving. As I said, 20% of your this thing should be into savings. And saving is not investing. Investing is to put your money into assets which grows, which will beat the inflation and grows over a period of time. So Dr. Ravi sir has already talked about all these things. I'll just skip that slides. So this is just to show the power of compounding. So if you are suppose invested in a FD, 1 lakh FD for a period of 20 years, the post-tax return will be about 3.83 lakhs after 20 years, whereas the same thing 1 lakh put in an equity mutual fund will almost get you about 14 lakhs. So another important thing, as Dr. Ravi sir has already said, is jewelry is not a form of investment. It is an expense. It will just be kept in your cupboards. So if you want to invest in gold, SGB, sovereign gold bonds is the best method of investing in gold. And another important message I want to do is to tell is a lot of doctors have the habit of cash generation, taking in cash and not accounting it, not paying tax. It's actually a very poor form of financial management. You cannot avoid taxes, and if at all you have black money, you can probably use it only for real estate. Nowhere else you can use it now. The government has tightened the nose everywhere. So please pay your taxes. Please bill everything, pay your taxes, and then put that money to work. Within 3 years, you can regain whatever taxes you have paid. So you don't have to worry about the taxes. So whenever you want to invest something for more than 3 years time horizon, then the only method of getting good returns is in the form of equity. Equity, either you can do equity mutual funds, or you can directly invest into stocks. So directly investing into stocks is definitely a good option, but it is time consuming. Means you have to do a lot of your studies, you have to do a lot of analysis. So the mutual fund is an easy option for all doctors, especially when we are busy. So how does a mutual fund work? So basically a mutual fund is just one. So a mutual fund works like a group of investors. Suppose the people of Cornea Society, they want to invest 10 lakhs each. So then what happens? They don't have time to go into the stock market and find out which is the best stock to invest and when to get out of the stocks. So that's why what they do is they pool their money and give it to a fund manager. What the fund manager will do is he will invest this money into different stocks. He will do a lot of research, which stock is going to move further, which stock is going to fall, when it is going to move further or when it is going to fall. So he will do all the analysis and then he will generate profits out of these investments. And in this return, what happens is he will keep some part of it as expenses, his salary or whatever expenses. Remaining profit he'll distribute back into the investor. So that's how we get the returns from the mutual funds. So basically, there are few important categories of mutual funds we need to understand. First is the large cap funds. So these funds invest in companies in the top 100 companies in the stock market. Typically, they give about 12 to 15% return if you are investing in a mutual fund which is investing in a large cap. There are another called the mid caps. So mid caps invest in the 100 to 250 companies in the stock market. They typically generate about 15 to 18% of return annually. And the third is a small cap. So these are smaller companies. So these are beyond the 250, the first 250 category. And typically, these give very good returns. But at the same time, the risk is also high. So if you invest in a large cap fund, the risk is very low because these are all very large companies, typically more than 10,000 crores capital, market capitalization. So the risks is relatively less. These are like the Reliance, the Asian Paints, HDFC, ICICI Bank. So all these Infosys or TCS. So these are the large cap companies. So they give about 12 to 15%, whereas the small cap companies, they give higher returns, but at the same time, the risk is also high because a small company which has probably the market capitalization less than 1,000 crores, they sometimes may run into losses and sometimes they even close up. The other category is a flexi cap. So a flexi cap mutual fund invests in all these three categories, the large cap, mid cap, and the small cap. So basically the fund manager analyzes which are the companies which are going to give good returns. So he has the flexibility to invest in all the three things. And the last one is the ELSS. This is for basically in the old scheme, in the ATC, we had the PPF, Public Provident Fund. So instead of that, the equity equivalent of PPF is the ELSS. So again, ELSS is invest mostly in large cap funds, and they generate about 12 to 15% of returns. So just ignore all the other things. There are so many things like sectoral funds and EV fund, electronic vehicles. So there's so many things which coming up. So you just have to ignore that one. And whenever you are investing in mutual funds, you always have to invest only in the growth plan. So these dividend payout or dividend reinvestment, these are all absolutely rubbish. You don't have to even bother about it. Just go only for the growth plan because that's the only thing which will compound your money. So where to invest? Typically, what is suggested is you have 1 to 2 large cap funds, 1 to 2 mid cap fund, and 1 to 2 small cap fund. You can invest 50% of your amount, whatever investment you want to do. Suppose you have 10 lakhs to invest. You can invest 5 lakhs in a large cap fund and another 3 lakhs in a mid cap fund and 2 lakhs in a small cap fund, because small cap fund gives a higher return, but the risk is also higher. And the best way is to invest is in a form of SIP or a systematic investment plan, because you cannot time the market. Because if you want to time the market, you need to be good at something called the technical analysis, where they will chart the price patterns and then decide when the price is going to go up and when it is going to fall. So that requires a lot of time and effort, and you need to learn a lot of things. It's not impossible. Definitely you can do it if you are interested. But for the average practitioner, I think SIP is the best method so that you don't have to time the market. So as I said, 20% of your income, you can just put it in a form of SIP into these funds. So while looking for the fund, which fund to invest in, we have to look at these 4 parameters. One is the total asset under management, the past performance of the fund, and what is the expense ratio, what is the expenses that the manager is claiming for this, and the age of the fund. So the total asset under management should be more than 1,000 crores, because if you are going for a small fund, anytime the fund may close. So we don't want to lose our hard-earned money. The past performance is very important. You look at the returns at the first 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year returns. So you have a website called Value Research Online. So excellent website. It gives you the returns in all the time horizons, 5, 3, and 1 year. And also they also have some rating system, the 3-star, 5-star rating. So that also is a good this thing. You can follow that rating system to find out good funds. So age of the fund, always we go for a fund which is minimum 5 years old. We don't want to go for a new fund offer. So even I think 2 days back, there was some new fund offer, invest in this fund. So we don't want to go for new fund because we don't know the manager. We don't know how he's going to perform. So we always want to put our hard-earned money into a fund which has a track record that it will give a good return. And the other important thing is the expense ratio. So here you can see this particular fund has an expense ratio of 2.6, means 2.6% of your portfolio. Suppose if you are invested 1 lakh, 2,600 is going to go for his expenses, irrespective of whether fund has made a profit or loss in that year. So that is why this expense ratio is very, very important. You can see the other mutual funds where the expense ratio is just only 0.7, or sometimes it can be 0.5 or 0.4 also. So go for a fund with a least expense ratio. And coming to the expense ratio, there is one more important thing which we need to remember. There are two things. One is called as the direct plan and the regular plan. So this regular plan are given by all the standard banks or wherever you might be having your demat account, the big banks. So they have only regular plans. They don't give direct plans. So in the regular plan, what happens? There is an advisor. So he gets another 1% commission in that expense ratio. So your expense ratio, like what I said, the 2.5 in the first mutual fund, which I showed you, of that, this advisor will get 1%. Or maybe sometimes even more. So this is 1% of your total portfolio, not the 1% of your return. So that's why it becomes huge when you compound it over a period of many years, like 15 to 20 years. So that's why you should go for a direct plan where there is no middleman. You are directly buying it from the asset management company through, I'll just show you where you can buy that one. And this is just to show the difference of a 10 lakh investment in a direct plan and a regular plan. Over a period of 20 years, there is a difference of 18.7 lakhs. That's about 20% difference in the total earning that you get after 20 years. So that's why direct plan is the way to go for investing in mutual funds. So where to get direct plans? One is there is something called as a MFU online. This is a very nice website where you can do it. Or easiest way is most of us have an account in Zerodha. So Zerodha coin is a very good method of investing in the direct plans. So there is a numerous other like Kera, Grow app, and so many things. But most of the regular brokers don't give you regular direct plans. They offer only the regular plans. So in any mutual fund, if it is mentioned as regular, then please don't go for that. You'll be paying a very high expense ratio and finally end up with a lower amount of corpus. So as I said, this is a wonderful website, valueresearchonline.com. So this gives wonderful research about mutual funds. So you can just go there. They have the rating system also, where you can easily, even without analyzing all these things, whatever parameters I have told, you can easily go and invest in through this value research. And also there is this ET Wealth magazine, which comes every Monday. It's just 5 rupees, but it's a very good wealth of what to say, and the knowledge you get from this is very huge. So I would request all of you to please subscribe to this and read this every Monday. So that itself will give you a lot of knowledge and insight into stock markets and mutual funds. So this is the Value Research online website. So as I said, they give the ratings. So they have complex parameters, whatever I have told you before, they take into all those things into account and give ratings. So you can follow that also if you don't want to go into the details. But of course, it is always better to do your own research, and then you'll be more convinced about the mutual funds than going just by the ratings. But I know all the corner people are super busy. They don't have time to do all this in research and then find out which fund to invest, where to invest. So for them, the best method of investing is in index funds. So this is the simplest method of investing. Suppose if somebody doesn't have any time, you don't want to do any research, you just put your money, 20% of your income into this index funds. That is all that is necessary. That will grow at the Nifty and the Sensex have typically given 12 to 14% returns in the last 40, 50 years. So you just need to invest in this, the index funds, and there is even the simplest something called the Nifty Bs, which you can buy it. You can buy one Nifty Bs presently, I think around 205 rupees. So you can just invest any amount you want, whatever, even small amount. You just go through your broker, Zerodha or whichever bank account, demat account you have, and just do an SIP in Nifty Bs. That is all that is necessary. You don't need to scratch your head about any mutual fund or whatever the expense ratio, whatever it is. So whatever the research that has been done, they show almost about 80% of the funds don't give even the return whatever the market index that's the Nifty can give. So that's why instead of investing in mutual funds and then losing the expense ratios, you just have to invest in Nifty Bs where the expense ratio will be very, very less. And if you want to take more risk, there is something called as a junior Bs also. So you can invest the Nifty Bs invest in the top 50 companies, and the junior Bs invest in the next 50 companies, 50 to 100 companies. So they'll be a little more riskier, but also returns again will be a little higher. Taxation on mutual funds, this is very, very important because most of us are in the 30% tax bracket. So it's very, very important because mutual equity is a very good method of saving your taxes. So if you're holding it for less than 12 months, the tax you're going to pay is only 15%. But if you're holding it for more than 1 year, then the tax is only 10%. And again, there is a first 1 lakh of that profit is exempted from tax. So capital gains up to 1 lakh is exempted from the taxation. Only if it is more than 1 lakh, if your profit is more than 1 lakh in equity funds, only then you pay 10%. So you're again saying 20% taxes there itself. So equity is a very good method of saving taxes. But having said all this, you should remember that mutual fund is a long-term investment. Don't put money which you need for the next 1 or 2 years into mutual funds or in equity mutual funds, because there will be something called the bear market. Last 1.5 to 2 years, actually, Nifty didn't give any returns. The market was flat, so it didn't give any returns. So if you suppose suddenly you want to need funds, so as Dr. Deji said, emergency fund, if you put here, you may not be able to withdraw, or if you withdraw, you'll be withdrawing in losses. And whenever you invest in in mutual funds, always go in a direct and a growth plan and open-ended funds. And don't sell your mutual fund in a bear market. Suppose there will be headlines in newspaper, there's a bloodbath in the stock market, 10,000 crores lost, 50,000 crores lost. So don't worry about that. Nifty will come back. The Sensex, because the whole world is running on the stock markets. Government will not allow the stock market to fall to zero. So your money will never become zero in stock market. Don't worry. Just keep invested. Stay there for a long time. You will definitely earn very good returns. And as I said in the beginning of the talk, direct equity is definitely a very good method. You can there your potential is unlimited. You can even make 100% profit even in 1 year. But that requires a lot of time and effort, and you have to study the markets, you have to study the companies. There is something called the fundamental analysis and technical analysis. So you have to be thorough with all these things before you can invest in a direct equity market. So once you are invested in that, definitely this is the best method ultimately, so that you don't have to pay even that expense ratio what you pay for the mutual funds. So take home points, make your money work for you. Equity is the best method of compounding wealth in the long run. And if you don't have any knowledge about stocks, best way is to start with the mutual funds and don't fall into the insurance trap. No age is too late. So I started at the age of 50. So no age is too late to start investing in stock market. And this is a wonderful book. I request all of you to please purchase this book, and you should read it at least 10 times. This will change the total attitude of your listening towards finances. Thank you.
Excellent, Dr. Arun.
Sorry if I exceeded the time.
No, we very well enjoyed your exceeded time. And truly, now I'm wondering, do you see more of kids in your pediatric practice or do of money management looking at your elaborate knowledge? I think...
I just want to add 1 or 2 things. I just want to add.
Yes, sir.
Almost all of the mutual funds are covered by Dr. Arun, and it's really a huge list and each and everything. Main important things is direct investing, index fund. These are all. One thing I'd like to add, balance advantage fund is a type of fund in which a manager decide to go to equity that on different timings of the market. So that can be another adding. And one more point, in my group, I always on Monday, I post ET Wealth. If someone is interested, I can send soft copies to them. ET Wealth is really wonderful book. If you want to ask me what minimum one should read, that is the only newspaper I suggest to each and everyone. The rest of the things are value research and whatever Dr. Arun said, but ET Wealth is really must. And I can send soft copy to each and everyone who wants.
Would love to have that, sir. Great. So we'll continue our conversation. But in the meanwhile, we were just thinking, why are all our speakers men? So that's when we got thinking, I think when it comes to household, all husbands give their money to the woman and say, you manage my money better. So at that level, women are always at a higher post. But when it comes to investment, I hardly know many women who are, frankly into money management and investment, and they largely depend on their husbands, brothers, or dads for their thing. So we thought, let's have a real life hero here. So I invite Dr. Anaga. All of us would have heard her in clinical talks, but here I just requested her to share something different for the men and women out here. So we know all her clinical background, but when I asked her to tell us about her financial growth, simple and sweet, she just messaged on her WhatsApp, and this is what she said. So I think congrats to her. She's opening her 4th center, and this is her growth chart, which requires huge amount of finances. So what I wanted her, I think from 1997, you've seen her practice, and every few years she started collaboration, she started opening centers. And as a woman, she has probably, she did tell me there's some sort of family support, but I think financially, all the big decisions were hers. So I invite you, Dr. Anaga, to guide us, especially women, young women, or even experienced women, as few tips on how did you take up this huge journey. There are a lot of great women enterprises, but having one among us in the hospital field is great. So just few tips for the women as to increase their confidence in financial, not only investment, but also, buying a machine or anything to do with financial dealings. So please welcome you to the Cornea for the change.
Thank you so much, Dr. Deepti, for inviting me here. Actually, when you called that day, like I was like taken aback as to why me. But then we just had a chat, and then we just thought that yes, why not share? I mean, nothing like I'm not going to teach anything to anybody. It's just sharing whatever little that I have learned and what I am doing. So basically, I think it's basically a culture in India or even abroad. The household culture itself is such that males usually take the financial decisions and females usually look after the house. And they say 27% of females only take their financial decisions themselves. And I think more than anything, there's no gender bias, or we are not here to compete with the males. What we need to know as women ophthalmologists is we play multiple roles. We do not look at only the business part of our work or profession, but we have to look at our household, our children, our in-laws. There's so many other things. And I know all of us have gone through very difficult times. I remember times when I had to take 4 local trains up and down during when my kids were much younger and needed my time more, just so that I can give more quality time to them. So in all this, we literally give very less priority to the financial decision and leave it to our better halves. But what I would like to, the message that I would like to give to all our women colleagues is 3 things. One is, first of all, you need to be financially literate. Now, in order to be able to take financial decisions or even be able to manage financially your own clinic or your center or your own household accounts, you need to know what exactly is going on in your accounts. Number 2 is financially independent. We should not at any point of time be dependent on whether your father, your brother, or your husband or your son at any stage in life, whether it is before marriage, during marriage, or any time at any point of time. So we need to be financially independent, irrespective of whichever stage you are. And thirdly is having financial savings and investment which grows, because we know that as mortals, our time as we grow older, there's a big key man risk, especially when you have your own centers and all that. Now, in order to do that, what I did was, like a long time ago, I was like this typical woman that I didn't know anything about finances. And I used to leave it, if there was any question asked by my CA, I used to just say, ask my husband. I used to not even talk on the phone. But what I realized was, especially post-COVID, the things changed really significantly. What we need to do as women is to first know exactly what happens in the accounts, right from entries. I used to check all the ledger entries in my tally. You need to know your tally. You need to go and navigate through the entire tally to see, and even tell your accountant. Sometimes OT consumables may be put into some other heading, and your P&L at the end may not reflect the perfect what you need to have. So the second thing is you need to have frequent discussions with your CA and review your finances. Now here we are not talking about the investment part. I'm talking about how to financially, what I did for financial planning of my own centers. So you know exactly what is your balance and the cash flow. See, it is not just the P&L. P&L may be totally different. Your balance sheet may be totally different. The cash flow may be actually negative even if you're having a profit of so many multiple of lakhs. So your cash flow is extremely important. You need to have a daily control over it, weekly, monthly, need to review it very, very frequently. And your accountant should know that, yes, it's not just the husband, but even you who needs to be reported. So whichever stage you are in your practice, even if you're in the first year, now there is something called as a ripple effect and trickle effect. Now, when you start doing it, the trickle effect is now my son, who is in just second year DNB. We have told him you have to keep your own account, you have to keep your own saving and investment. So a particular amount he is already investing. And secondly, it creates also a ripple effect. So your staff, now here I would like to mention we have almost more than 125 all women staff in our organization. So when they look at me, they also, I keep telling them that, no, you have to, and many of them are single mothers and other single breadwinners of their family. So each of us, it's not just ourselves, but also empower others around you. So I just thought that just few things that I would like to share. And this was what I thought I would say. Thanks. Thanks for inviting me.
Excellent. That was wonderful to listen to, Dr. Anak. And thank you so much. In between your both meetings, you could squeeze in time here.
Sorry, I had to join my MOS.
So we'll surely have an advanced session. I think these are pearls, and we should surely discuss more from all of you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Deepti, we have a question in the chat box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ideal duration of term insurance.
Would Dr. Arun want to take this up? Ideal duration of term insurance.
Duration of term insurance should be till the age of 70. Till you are 70 years of age, because that is the time you need the term insurance. And a lot of people make mistakes of taking term insurance in the name of the child. So that is absolutely not necessary. You don't have to do that. Term insurance is only for the breadwinner of the family, the earning member of the family, whether it is the husband or the wife. So only you need to have the term insurance until the age of 70. So by the age of 70, probably you would have settled in your life and you would have probably cleared all your commitments. So you don't need to get a term insurance, because there are a lot of companies offering term insurance till the age of 100. So what will you take with money at the age of 100? So that definitely doesn't make any sense.
You are sitting in drawing room. You are sitting in drawing room and wearing helmet.
So maximum 70 or 75, not beyond that. And also there is another thing in the term insurance, like a lot of companies now tell that you pay for 10 years and then you're insured till the age of 100. So that's again not necessary. You just go for a term insurance where you pay every year till you're there. That's it.
Dr. Arun, every year, sometimes you want to pay 3 years together, you have less premium. So is that better, or every year only pay?
Every year is always better. The premium will be less. The premium will be less when you pay every year. When you pay lump sum, you'll be actually paying more, which the agent will not tell you. But when you do that,
and even in term insurance, some companies are offering you will get this much after this year. Please don't go for that trap.
It's not wise. Yes.
Correct.
Am I audible, sir? Can I ask a small question?
Please, sir.
Yeah, I have a few mutual funds through depository participants like NJ. I'm finding it really hard to stop them and then shift to a direct plan. So what should I do? Should I just stop all of them, withdraw all the money, and then shift to some other fund, or what is your advice on that?
Yes,
It's a
yes, sir.
DP, it's not an agent.
Yes, sir. You cannot shift directly from the regular to the direct plan, sir. You have to stop that fund and then buy the direct fund through the AMC or through Zerodha Coin or the MFU Online. MFU Online is a wonderful website where you can get all the mutual funds in the direct plan.
So I'll have to stop all of them.
Yes, sir. You have to stop all of that and withdraw that one, and then you have to invest in the this.
And don't worry for taxation capital.
Okay.
Yes.
Because in long term, you will be benefited from direct.
Correct.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So the next question I would request Dr. Ravi to take up. Say from some source I get a 10 lakh money, which is a surprise one, and I would want to give 5 lakhs to the elders at home, parents, grandparents, and another 5 lakh would want to invest for a daughter who is around 5 years. So how do we plan such? So can you just give us few tips on age-wise, liquidity-wise, what are the ways to do for senior citizens, and what are the ways to invest for kids?
For kids of 5 years, she has long years to go. So the very best thing is large cap equity mutual funds, very long term. We can divide according to Dr. Arun told us 50%, 30%, 20%, but majority should be in the equity mutual funds. And if we want to save some of the taxes and nearby education, if something is required, and if she's, as you mentioned, she's 5 years old only, Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana can also be considered. But my take-home message is majority in equity mutual funds. And for senior citizens, we don't want very long-term horizon. So senior citizen savings scheme, every 3 months, you will get the amount for them to be, and otherwise it is the balance advantage fund or hybrid funds can be given to them. Or FDs can also be equally important for them.
But
and we have to consider taxations also. So accordingly, we have to decide.
I think
Yes,
that Sukanya Samruddhi scheme, as you said, is a wonderful scheme which government has given. So all girl child below the age of 10 years are eligible for this one. So I think every parent should invest in this SSY scheme for all the children.
Okay. So we thought why only Karan Johar should have a rapid fire. We'll also have a rapid fire round. So quickly, I'll have Dr. Arun and Dr. Ravi take up questions. We thought we can cover more with just few questions here.
Yes.
So first one to Dr. Arun Sampriti, what should we not invest in? We'll not take FD because anyone will say FD, but what do you think we should not put our money in as doctors?
The worst thing to invest is ULIP, child plans and retirement pension plans, and all these things are there, where the agents will get 30 to 40% commissions on your premiums. That's the worst form of investment. Please don't go for any of these fancy names. Just go for a simple equity mutual fund.
Okay.
So next, Dr. Ravi sir, if you want to reveal, you can, but do you think your investment income is at least close to your clinical income as doctors? Yes, no, or you still don't want to reveal that?
Almost equal.
Great. And very important question, Dr. Arun, do you feel that can...
No, for me, it is not equal. Definitely, it is not equal. Probably if it becomes equal, I may reduce my practice or stop my practice.
Exactly, that's great news that that's
very it's not the thing. And one thing what we look at is financial independence. Means if the passive income can take care of your day-to-day living expenses, then you're financially independent. So that is what we are aiming at. Even if you're not able to get your clinic income through the investments.
That's great. Dr. Ravi, can you suggest, I think Dr. Arun already shared, can you suggest very two useful apps that you may use or books that you have gone through for money management?
Number of apps are available. I generally see moneycontrol.com as well as ET Money. Regarding books, one book he has already suggested. Second, a very simple way by Monica Helen, Let's Talk Money. And very recently, she is coming with a book on mutual fund also. But again, I suggest ET Wealth weekly newspaper is the best one.
This, I think we covered. Both of you said we should start investing as soon as we start earning. Dr. Arun, have you incurred major losses? Because there may be a limitation in knowledge in the beginning. And if so, has that taught you something so that we can learn and avoid those losses?
Yeah, definitely a lot of losses I've had, and that's the reason why I've learned in a hard way. Previously, I had this Demat account with one of the major banks, and they have something called a relationship manager. So he will come and tell you, okay, sir, this is investment, this mutual fund, you have to invest, this mutual fund invest. What they do is, in fact, they had something called as a basket, wherein they will churn the mutual funds. Like, okay, 3 months this fund was performing, I invested in this. The next month, this fund is not performing, I go into the other month. So they keep churning. So I'd invested about 10 lakhs, and finally at the end of 5 years, the 10 lakh became 8 lakhs. Why this happens is they have something called as an entry load and exit load for all these mutual funds. So 1% of your capital will go in the entry and exit, and that's the reason why they keep churning the funds. So they earn more by churning the funds, and that's how I lost a lot of money. And plus the ULIPs, which I was misguided by all my own patients. In fact, to be honest with you, my own patients, they come and they see that this fellow is a nice bakra and we can make a good this thing out of him. And they take advantage of your this thing, innocence, and they make you invest in a lot of these ULIP plans. So I have had a lot of losses in my mutual funds until this COVID came, and I learned all about this mutual fund and where to see the information, where to this thing. And it's finance is definitely not difficult, and each one of you can do it. You just need to spend probably 2 hours on a weekend and just screen this ET Money. And there are a lot of other websites, and in fact, there are a lot of Telegram groups, doctor groups are available where you can get a lot of this information. And it's very, very easy for you. Once you see that, you'll know how easy it is and how much you are getting cheated each and every day by your own patients and friends and relatives.
I'd like to mention 2 important things. One is, one should not put every eggs in single basket. So divide all your investments in 5 to 10% gold, some real estate, debt, as well as in different kind of investment plans. That is the one thing. And so yes, this is the things I'd like to mention. Never put all your eggs in one basket.
Diversification.
True. So just to motivate everyone, how much time do both of you put in a week, in hours?
The same thing I mentioned, 2 hours in a week is more than enough. To start with, you can have ET Wealth, value research online, and some YouTube videos, and the things will moving like anything. Once things come in a different shape, then you can only 2 hours in a week is sufficient.
In fact, COVID time was a wonderful time for us.
Yeah, exactly. We started there
a
only.
lot of time on research of stocks and markets, and I had spent a lot of time, especially lockdown time when the clinic was closed.
Yes.
I spent almost the whole day studying,
Yes,
and
exactly.
that's how I developed this
same
interest.
scenario with me.
Yes.
A lot of them say that we have gained so much in COVID compared to the losses. I think all of us have seen the other part of COVID as well. Now, Dr. Arun, 2 quick tips for doctors to save taxes.
See, one thing is definitely taxes, death and taxes are certain. That's what Benjamin Franklin has said. So you cannot avoid taxes. Best is to pay taxes and put that money to work. So you just hide your money and generate a black money or cash income. And finally, you cannot spend it anywhere. Or even if you spend, you will not be earning on that. So definitely there is no point in avoiding taxes. You pay your taxes and then put that money to work. That's the best way of looking at it.
One should be well aware of the scenarios where tax can be saved. Number ELSS, that can be saved. Others are PPF, Sukanya Samriddhi, and long-term capital gain, 1 lakh is rebated. So every year one can plan to use that 1 lakh of limit.
And equity is the best method of saving on taxes.
Yeah, exactly.
The taxation on equity for long-term capital gains is only 10% as compared to 30 to 40%
Exactly.
you are paying on your income tax. So even your FD, you are going to give a tax of 30 to 40%. So equity is only 10%. So equity is
Only
the
10%.
best method of saving on taxes. That's what is my thing. Yes.
We have a question. We have a question in the
We
chat
have
box.
the last question.
Yeah.
I think we all know the answer for this. Has your alternate source of income sort of relaxed your stress and targets and clinical practice?
Yes,
So for
definitely
both
for
of
me, yes. Yes, definitely. Because
Yes,
as I said,
exactly.
yeah.
At least to start with, it is really must.
So I think if not anything, that is something which is a total take-home message to
One thing, Dr. Deepthi, I just want to think, what I already said, the same thing I want to repeat. Your passive income should be enough at least to take care of your living expenses. Suppose your clinic is closed with another wave of COVID or some other virus. At least your expenditure, day-to-day expenditure should be taken care of by the passive income what you're earning. So that is important. So then you call yourself as financially independent. You don't have to worry about your practice.
Perfect. Great. So yes, I think we have another question. Are all the ULIPs an absolute no? Because the one through Tata that was explained by a financial advisor seemed to be having good results.
I just want to add, there are two types of financial advisors. Number one, they are acting as agents for the ULIPs, and others are fee-only advisors. So always select fee-only financial advisors that will give more valuable suggestions. And regarding every ULIP, one has to see what kind of expenses are there. It is 20, 30, even 40% to start with in first year or second year. So it is a really big no from my side for all the ULIPs.
Okay, and we have also heard Dr. Arun saying a big no for that. Next question from Dr. Divakar. If we get 15 to 20 crores by selling a property, what would be the best way to invest such a large amount?
Number of, we have to see what amount of capital gain is there, how much he is getting through check, how much he is getting non-check. If it is in cash, then one has to go to real estate or gold. Otherwise, if it is check, then what are financial goals? It is only for investment and retirement, then equity mutual funds are the best. What is his age? What are financial goals? That all has to decide.
Okay. So I think we're still having questions. We are running late. Dr. Himanshu, what do? We take up, we wind up. I think there's no end for such discussions. We can go on.
Yeah, it deserves one more session. Maybe you can plan out, we can see, and then we can include the questions there also. And possibly we can have more of a question answer rounds. I mean, it's really wonderful to see our doctor friends being such an expert in this field. It's really heartwarming.
COVID teaches us a lot of things.
Very true. That's so interesting that we are among the most intelligent strata of the society. I mean, if you look at the marks and the merits and something, to become a doctor, it possibly is most difficult in our country, if not any other profession. And possibly we are not taught about most important aspect of our life, which is money management. And that's a shame. That I guess it should be part of our school curriculum, if not at least.
There must be a session in AIUS also.
Yeah, I think recently CPSC has introduced this financial this thing in the high school syllabus.
That's nice.
So that is a change.
One message I'd like to share. This financial education is also one subject, and we are in nursery, KG, and upper KG. So one should not attempt the questions of higher class. If you are educated up to nursery, then try to attempt basic questions, basic investment strategies. And if you are in higher classes, then only you can go for share trading and option, and that's all.
I think
so this is also a message for all.
That's a very, very, very nice way you really conveyed, Dr. Ravi. That itself is probably a front foot sixer.
Yeah. According to your level.
Right.
Sure. Great. I think we should wind up, and it was so lovely listening to both of you. And we will surely plan more sessions of this. And I hand over to Dr. Gnan for a final vote of thanks.
Just one last comment. If somebody has questions, probably the YouTube link they can post in the YouTube comments. Probably we can try to respond whenever time permits.
Sure.
Yeah, we sure do that. Yeah.
You are muted, Dr. Gnan.
Yeah, sorry. That was a lovely session. So many things we learned, and then so many things we have been, I would say, cheated by our agents, sold by our agents also. So there are certain things we know what to avoid and what not to avoid. So it was a wonderful session. Thank you, guest speakers, Dr. Trehan and Dr. Arun. We would like to hear more from you. If you have more questions from our group members, we would like to post it to you, send it to you, and maybe you can get back to us with the answers. Most likely, we might have another session on financial planning. We look forward to that. With this, I would like to end this session of Kera Life. Until we meet next time. Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you, Deepti.
Thank you, Dr. Deepti.
Thank you, Dr. Arun. Bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good night.